I think I'm live. Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. And today is Friday, October the 7th. We are already into October. Where did any years go after 2019, right? It's been a huge blur. But we are into October, which is officially the spooky season, which actually starts in September. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. Halloween is from September 1st through October 31st. But more importantly, October means it's Q4, fourth quarter, the last quarter of the year, the last time for any of us to make sales and make money. But it's also the time when buyers tend to shop more. They open up their wallets and they spend, whether they have discretionary money to spend or not. From October through, I'd even say through January, February, people spend money. Not everyone is budget wise, and a lot of folks tend to just overspend or spend their money without thinking about it. And these months, a lot of that is related to the holidays, Christmas, you name it. And then I included January and February because we're going to talk about this in a minute whenever we get to it. But a lot of people continue to spend money in January and February beyond Christmas because a lot of people get money for Christmas and then they shop for themselves. Hey, Shelly, welcome in. So today we're going to talk about some tips for Q4. If you're new to the channel, these will all be new for you. If you've been a subscriber of the channel for any length of time, you may have heard these tips in the past, but it's a good refresher for all of us. It's a good reminder, refresher. And if you've never heard these things before, you might learn something today. So, hey, Nifty Nate, yeah, I will see you next week. If you guys don't know, I am, going to Reseller Remix next week in Vegas. And I am actually leaving here Sunday morning at 2. Well, my flight leaves at 7:30. So we have to leave here at 4:30. Because it takes an hour to get to the Tampa airport and you got to be there 2 hours early. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I land in Vegas at 9:30, I think. And I'll be there through next Saturday. So if you're going and you see me, come say hi. I need to clear my throat, and I hate doing it on live. I usually cut it out when I pre-record. My allergies, today I had to just take a Claritin before I came on. They're out of control. I don't know what this hurricane last week stirred up, but it stirred up every single thing in the world that bothers my allergies. All right, so hey, Heather, welcome in, and Jackie, thanks for joining us today. So far, if you've missed it, I just kind of talked about how we're getting into Q4, and there's certain things that we can all do to get ready to prep and prepare. And I also kind of touched on the fact that I will be at Reseller Remix next month in Vegas. So if you see me there, come say hi. How much do you net per month? Right now, we're not making as much as we normally do. We are in a period of transition. Our sales are actually low right now, but I went to FlipCon and then I went to Boston for eBay Open. And when I'm gone, obviously we lose one of our people. Keith is still here to ship and list, but I'm not listing. And then we actually put the store on hold for 3 or 4 days during the hurricane. And then we put the store on hold for a day or two when we went to Universal. And when I get back from Vegas, it will be on hold for probably 3 weeks at the very least, because we have to finish packing. I get back the 15th, and we have approximately a week and a half to get ready for the truck. And we are also going to Disney in that time because we're trying to cross off all of our bucket lists before we leave. So right now it's don't be sorry to hear that. Don't be sorry at all. Our sales are slow right now because we're busy and we keep putting our store on hold because I keep traveling, because we keep doing things on our bucket list that we're getting ready or we're getting ready to leave Florida, so we want to do all the stuff we want to do. And obviously, when you're in a transition and you aren't listing as much as you normally do, and you aren't doing all the things that you normally would be doing, sales are going to be slow. Like our Q4 is probably not going to be that great, to be honest with you, because by the time we get moved in and everything, it's just going to be slow. But the beauty of this business is even if hurricanes happen or you travel or you move or things go slow, you can always build yourself back up if you put in the work. If you put in the hard work and you do your due diligence and you list and you do what you need to do, you can build back up. So I'm not sad at all. Our sales are slow, but we know why they're slow, because we're basically on a big old vacation, going places and doing things until we move. So it's Q4 is actually pretty good for us in the past. Even though we're primarily clothing, Q4 is usually banging and it booms for us. January, February is even better typically for clothing sellers. But usually from, I'd say, November through February or March is when we have our best sales. 2020 was the best ever, but I think that's because people were shut in. They were bored. They had nothing to do. They were online shopping, and a lot of folks were spending that stimulus money and all the extra money we were getting. So, all right, let me catch up on the chat. Hey, Believable Blessings, or Tiffany, welcome in. And thank you so much again, Tiffany, Believable Blessings over there, guys. She sent me 2 boxes of Plush. I have them in the garage. They're as is, like the way she mailed them. I will be opening those in Pennsylvania next month once we're moved, and I'll do an unboxing. But thank you again so much for those. So we are on a hold with our wholesale as well. If you didn't hear everything I just said, Keith and I are moving, and I kind of put our wholesale on hold for a while because that's just more stuff to move, and I'm not dealing with moving more stuff than I have to. But we'll get that going again once we are back up north. I actually think, Nifty Nate, there is a reason why people's sales are slow. We just came out of summer. Summer is typically slow for most people. Summer slowdown. The economy is not the best right now. People don't have a lot of discretionary money to be spending on stuff. But as I was saying at the beginning of the video or the show, before a lot of folks came in, if you didn't hear me say it, I feel like in the holiday months in Q4, whether they have the money or not, most people are going to spend. They're going to spend. They're going to overspend. They're going to use their credit cards and spend money they don't have. And that's just human nature. That's what people do. So the problem with reselling full-time is, yes, the money can be inconsistent. The best way to go about becoming a full-time reseller is, before you take the leap, always make sure you have 6 months to a year saved up in your savings account to cover all of your expenses and bills. So you have to sit down and figure out how much you make a month and how much you need. And then it's recommended to have 6 months of that, or even up to a year, in a savings account as an emergency fund. And then because reselling can be so up and down, like a roller coaster or feast or famine, when you're having the good months and you're making the extra money, it's best to squirrel that away and rely on that when sales are slower. You also have to remember to put money away for your taxes. It's a balancing act. It's not for everyone. It's really hard to do full-time. It's not, it's not this glamorous, hey, I'm a full-time reseller. I just woke up this morning, I thrifted one time, and now I'm a luxury billionaire. That's not how it works. It takes a lot of hard work. You can make your money consistent enough if you can get to a level where you're doing volume, but I understand that it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, you're not wrong. It's just not for you. It takes a certain type of person, I think. And there's 2 of us, so we can get twice as much work done. It's kind of like when you see the bigger volume sellers with the employees, we basically have 2 people. So let's get into the Q4 tips and tricks I have for you. So like I said, if you're new here, this will be new information, and you can take away whatever you can learn from it. If you've heard me say this before, it's just a refresher. I'm going to show you my notes. They are horrible. You guys know that normally I have these really neat notes or typed up. These are just like, I'm telling you, my brain is fried and my life is a hectic mess right now. I have about 15 plates and they're all full, but I still make my little lists. All right, the first thing I would recommend that you do before we get any further into Q4 is you need to make sure you have all the supplies you need as far as shipping supplies. You need to make sure you have everything that you need for whatever you're shipping. Everybody is selling different items. So if you're like a jewelry seller, clearly you need little boxes. If you're me, you need poly bags and the priority envelopes from the USPS that you can order for free. If you sell big items, you need big boxes. So whatever it is you're doing, you need to make sure you have it. If you're using thank you cards, stickers, tissue paper, just, whatever you normally would use to ship your items, you should go into Q4 or at the beginning of Q4, where we're at right now, have double the supply of what you normally would have. The reason I say that is because your sales should be increasing and you should be selling more through Q4. But also, the closer we get to the holidays, the closer we get to Christmas, the USPS starts to get overwhelmed. And even UPS and FedEx start to get more packages and more shipments coming through. So as all of our carriers start to get overwhelmed and have more packages, it gets slower. And you guys have seen it happen year and year, time and time again. The shipments take longer. So if you're in a pickle in the middle of December or November and you've run out of shipping supplies or you're very close, you may not get them in time. So don't put it off like you normally. Like in the summer, you can probably wait till you're down to like your last little bit of polymailers and be like, oh, I should probably go order some more. And then they get there in time and you're fine. When you're in Q4, when everybody is overwhelmed and all of the shipping is taking longer from everywhere, and you wait till you get down to that last little bit, they're not going to get there on time. And then you're not going to have a way to ship your items, or you're going to have to go to like Walmart or an office supply store to buy these things to ship your items in. And it's so much more astronomically expensive than buying them in bulk from the places you normally would. So I always recommend folks just order up, double up, or just go order now like you're pretending you're running out. So whatever you use, if you normally use polymailers or padded envelopes, go order some more. If you get the free supplies off of USPS.com, definitely order more of those now, because those really get a huge delay on them as we go towards December. They can take months to get to you. They can really get backlogged. So make sure you order those. Order anything else you need. Use your coupon, your quarterly coupon that you get if you have a store subscription. Use it now. Don't put it off. I know a lot of people like to hold their quarterly coupon in to like the end and then order what they need. Use it now and get anything you think you may need. So that you don't run out, because if you run out, I mean, you're clearly going to find a way to ship, but it's going to be a more expensive way. And every penny counts. So I'm always talking about that bottom line and saving every penny where you can. This is where you can get your supplies in order now. And this brings me to the next point of getting organized. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. You need to get organized. So there is nothing worse, and y'all know this, than when you sit down to do your shipping. And let's say you do your shipping at your desk, like right here in front of your laptop, and your supplies are across the room, and you have 5 packages here. You can bring your 5 poly bags over, your 5 envelopes over. But what happens if you forgot something? You got to get up. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep getting up and getting your stuff. So I say that at least during Q4, you should have a shipping station. Not everyone has the room to set up a permanent shipping station. Some folks are blessed. We have one in the garage, and then we have one here. But if you don't have that kind of room, just at least work around it and have it set up for Q4 to save your own sanity and save time. Because if you have to keep looking for something that you need, or getting up and going to get it, or going to another room, or going out to the garage, or going down the basement, that wastes so much time. And in Q4, it is super important to be managing your time better than ever before. You really have to manage your time, and you have to be as productive as you possibly can. You're going to be busier. It doesn't matter what you sell. You're going to sell more than you normally do. If you're used to selling 1 or 2 a day, you're going to be selling maybe 5 to 10 a day. And that's a huge increase for someone who's only used to packaging 1 or 2 items a day. If you normally sell 10, you're going to have, 20. And so all of us, whatever we're used to, whatever we're comfortable with, is going to grow. And as that grows, you're going to be spending more time on your shipping, and you're going to be spending more time listing, because not only are you listing to replace the extra sales you're making, you've got to list to grow. So you've got to really be aware of where you're spending your time, and you have to be managing your time, but also managing how you're doing things to make them the most productive that they can be. And so you set yourself up for success. So at least for Q4, get a small table, get something, get 2 boxes and put them together and throw a tablecloth over it. I don't care what you do, but you need a place that this is my shipping station. And then you need to have all your supplies right there, whatever you use the most on a consistent basis. This way you can bring your packages in, set them here, and then you can sit down, and then you're pulling from your bookshelves or from under the table, however you have it set up. But you can literally sit down, pull a bag, put it in, put it on your scale. Everything would be right there. If you need tape, if you need cards, you would have it all right there. And then if you had to go somewhere else to a laptop to print your labels, you can just bring them back and slap them on. But you want to be efficient. You want to be super duper efficient and organized. So not only with your shipping, but guess what else? Your inventory. You absolutely should have an inventory system in place. If you don't, shame on you. Everyone needs a really good inventory system. Do you know how much time you are wasting? How many potential cancellations you're going to come up with if you can't find what you sold? You absolutely have to have a good inventory system in place. You want to be able to say, hey, this sold and this is where it is, and go over and pull it. All times, not just Q4. So you need to have that in place. If you don't, you need to get it in place. Get it as good as you can for Q4. But I would say after Q4, maybe like one of your resolutions for the new year for your business should be to sit down and redo it and make it neat. Most clothing sellers have bins that they label, and then within each bin, they have so many slots. We do that. We have, bins A through Z, and then A1 through A0, and so on and so forth, up through, I think we have E0, but we know that 20 can go in each. So we have little tags, A1, A2, you know what I mean? And then we reuse them. So when we pull an item to ship it, that goes over here, we reuse it. But then we put that in the SKU line. So the last picture we take of every item is the item on the scale with its location tag. So when we go to list it, not only do we know how much it weighs to input that ahead of time, so we're not wasting time at shipping, but we can see its location. And by doing this, we look at the sale, we look at the SKU line. This shirt is an A51. I can pull it, we pre-bag it, so it's already in its poly bag, and the weight was already there, so I could just print the label and slap it right on that bag. Plush, we don't pre-bag, but we do have them in bins. We just pull them out. How we already know how much they weigh. We knew where their location was. You can do this with hard goods too. You could have a system of shelves, just like they do. Think of like in the back of Walmart or Target, where they have like A, B, C, D. Hey, Robert, what's up? And then bins, or just on that shelf. Figure out a system that works for you and whatever type of items that you're selling, but you need to have a good inventory system, because when you are selling more than what you're used to, and not everyone's going to be high volume. Not everyone is shipping 50 items a day. Like I said, some folks are small, but if you're used to only sending 1 or 2 items a day or every other day, it's going to get bigger, and it can be overwhelming. Anything that's larger, more than what you are used to, can get overwhelming if you don't have a good system in place. we can do 10 to 15 a day. That's good. When it gets above that, that's when it would be stressful if we didn't have our systems in place. So you got to have systems in place to make yourself successful. So yeah, a day-based system is good too. We also put that in the SKU line. So our SKU line will say the original date it was listed, and then it will say the original price we wanted, and then it will have the location. And then it used to have any other notes, but now that we use List Perfectly, they have a note section on your listings for you where you can put notes for yourself. And that's just stuff like, I bought this in June, or don't forget this had a hole, or hey, these jeans were too big for a flat rate envelope. They're going to have to go in a box, whatever you need to tell yourself. Or, these aren't in my inventory system because it's a dress that I hung up in the closet. But just set yourself up for that success. Get all your items in a situation where they can immediately be found and pulled, and then brought to a station where you can just doop, 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 and ship your stuff out. So the third thing is you're going to want to list more in Q4. We all know that throughout the year, listing more means you make more money. Obviously, if I have 5 things listed and Robert has 50 things listed, Robert's going to sell more than me because he's reaching more people. He has more items to choose from. When you're listing every day, you're active. eBay loves an active store. Their algorithm, her name is Cassini. She loves activity. So you need to be listing every day. You need to be editing or doing something, touching your stuff. And then doing the offers and countering them and all of that stuff. Everything that counts as activity, and sales too. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you have a really dry spell and you come out of it, when you start to get sales, it's almost like sales breed sales, and they just keep piling up. It's because it's all activity. So you have to list all the time, even outside of Q4. But in Q4, you want to list more because you can sell more, because there's more people online spending money, whether they have it or not. Also, if you're selling more, you need to be replacing the sales that you've made, so you keep your listings up to where, like, if you want your listings at 500 and you're selling more than you used to, and you only listed 5 a day before to keep up or to even grow or stay at 500, now you're going to have to list more to replace those sales and then still grow. So for the ease of math, we'll use 500 as the example again. If you have 500 listings in your store and you were still wanting to grow a little bit, and you were selling, 2 items a day, and you were listing 5 a day, you were still growing. But let's say in Q4, you start selling 5 a day. Now you're only replacing what you sold. You're not going to grow unless you list more. My throat is dry already. All right. Also, as you're listing, if you have huge, ginormous death piles, focus on the seasonal stuff. Now, all things should be listed all the time. I say that to you guys. I've sold winter coats in the summer, and I've sold swimsuits in the winter, and I have sold Valentine's Day plushies in December and Christmas plushies in June. Everything will sell all of the time. I don't buy into the process of holding seasonal items back and then listing them at the time of the season. I list everything all the time, but I also do make it a point, if I have a death pile and I have a pile of short sleeve shirts and a pile of hoodies, I'm going to list hoodies right now and my jeans. And then when those are all done, I'll go back and do the short sleeve shorts and the short sleeve shirts and the shorts. So I will list all of everything, but I just kind of make it a point. I also do first in, first out. So the stuff that's the oldest that I bought, a while back, needs to be listed ahead of what I just thrifted. But I also try to keep in mind the value. So if I brought home a Robert Graham shirt today, I'm clearly going to list that ahead of the, Wrangler shirts that are sitting here from last week. So it's like the first in, first out, but also be aware of putting up your higher volume items first, and also your seasonal. So get those long sleeve shirts, the hoodies, the wool dresses, ugly Christmas sweaters. Halloween stuff, Christmas stuff, Thanksgiving stuff, any kind of holiday stuff. Hi, Lisa. Welcome in. So get all that stuff up. And that brings me to the next tip. Your keywords and your stuff that's already listed. So not stuff that's not listed, not your death pile, your current active listings. You should be taking a little bit of time each day and going through and looking for any of your active listings that are related to the holidays. And you can do a quick search on the back end of eBay or List Perfectly if you use that. I use List Perfectly for everything. So I always recommend List Perfectly, especially, right now in this time of year, you're listing more, you're busy. List Perfectly is definitely the way to go. If you don't use it and you want to try it, you guys can get 30% off your first month with our code flippinhippos. It's worth it to try for 30% off, and there's no penalties for canceling if you don't like it. But go into your listings, search for stuff. Spend a little bit of time each day, 5-10 minutes, or promise yourself 5-10 listings, and pull up all your Christmas stuff. Are your keywords in your title good? Do you need to change them? Do you need to add better keywords? Robert's got to list 50 boxes of action figures after the reseller remix in Vegas next week. Those are fun to list, though. I like toys. Toys are fun. I'm a child. I use List Perfectly, and I love it. I actually was an early adopter. I met the girls, and I say the girls, Amanda and Clara, the CEOs. I met them in 2019 and was an early adopter, one of the very first users, and I have never looked back. And they have great support, as far as community support, technical support. And Clara she's not a typical CEO. She's a very good friend of mine, but she's very friendly to everybody. So try it out. 30% off. You can't beat that. Also, your first 5 days are free. So if you really thought it was terrible, like in the first 5 days and you hated it, you can cancel and get your money back. Anyway, back to the keywords. So go through your listings a little bit each day and just double check that you have good stuff in there, and think like a buyer. Get a buyer's mindset and think outside of the box. So of course you're going to go into your ugly Christmas sweaters, and you're going to make sure that your keywords and the title say ugly Christmas sweater. And of course you're going to make sure you say holiday plush, black cat, Frankenstein, all of those. Yes, those are obvious, but think outside of the box and think like a buyer. If I was going to go to a fancy New Year's Eve party and I was looking for a sparkly silver dress, as a buyer, I might type in silver dress or New Year's Eve dress. Think about things like that. And they don't have to, those keywords don't have to stay forever. So if something didn't sell in Q4, you can change it back. But a lot of times right before Q4 or as we get into the beginning of October, I will go in and find like those sweater dresses that we may have listed, or anything red or green or silver or sparkly or sequined. And I will add into the title keywords like holiday party, Christmas party, New Year's Eve, things like that, just to try to kind of get them to sell as attire for the holidays that people may be looking for. So think about stuff like that. You can add gift, present to like new and box items or collector's items. They don't always have to be new. Like the Starbucks mugs people collect. You can put gift, Christmas, stuff like that. So just think outside of the box, look at your store with new eyes. What kind of listings do you have? Do you have stuff that you can put party, New Year's, Christmas in? Do you have items that you can put gift, present, things like that? Because it does help them sell. It really, really does in Q4. I kind of leave them. I don't always change them back. But we also rotate every 30 days. We delist and relist items. So then I would change it then. I make a point of it at the beginning of Q4 to change those keywords to things I think are going to help them sell. But after Q4, I don't make a point of it to go back in and change them back. It's just if it happens, it happens. So I'm going to make sure I'm caught up on these. these comments. Okay, I'm caught up. So now the last tip I have is for, oops, I'm sorry. Make sure the mailman came and picked up our packages. Alarm went off. All right. The last one is for stuff that you can just look for while you're outsourcing, because you should still be sourcing. Q4 is a busy time. I'm not kidding. You're shipping more, you're listing more, you're going through your listings and changing stuff. And then you're still sourcing, and then you're still wearing all the other hats. You still have to be an accountant and a social media manager and a customer service representative, all the hats we wear. And the last thing we're going to talk about today, after I talk about what to source for, is your mental health and like staying sane, because your business keeps you busier and then you're busier, right? The holidays are a busy time. And take it from me, I've been through many Q4s and I have a lot going on right now. I'm going to come out the other side of this and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be okay. I'm pretty sure I'm still going to have my mental health intact, coming out of going to 3 huge reseller events and theme parks 3 times within that, going into Q4 and a huge move across the country. I think I'll be okay because of how I look at things and how I do things. So I'm going to tell you how to keep your mental health through really stressful, busy situations. Robert, you already sleep with your plush, so let's not lie to make friends. You probably sleep with all of your plush. I tease. Not really. All right, so what you should be looking for when you're outsourcing. Obviously, if you find anything new with tags, okay? Because if folks are looking for clothing to buy to give, that was really great English there, kid. If folks are looking for new with tags, nope. If they're looking for clothes, there you go, to buy as presents, I think they're more likely to buy new with tags. There's a lot of people in the world right now that would not be opposed to getting used or thrifted clothing as a Christmas gift. I think that the mindset of the world is changing as we move into this more recycle, reuse, reduce. Everybody wants to thrift. It's like the cool thing to do. But I still think people are more likely to buy clothes that are new with tags to give as gifts. So if you find anything new with tags while you're out at the thrift, you buy that. Toys, especially if they're new in box. Collectible things, like I mentioned, the Starbucks mugs, pop culture stuff. And that stuff can be used. People will buy that used for a gift all day long. I've received, Star Wars and Harry Potter and Doctor Who and Michael Myers and Halloween and all those things that I'm interested in. People have found mugs or pictures or whatever at the thrift store, but they were perfect. And I was so happy to get them because they're collector's items. So keep that in mind too. There's a whole world of people out there who are into sports, and that's sports memorabilia. And there's a whole world of people out there who are into comics and Marvel stuff and horror and Halloween and Harry Potter. And anyone that's into that kind of stuff that wants the collectible items, their people, their friends, and their families are online looking for the unique stuff, the collector stuff, maybe the vintage stuff, maybe the older stuff that's not so easy to find in retail anymore, or that they can't find at their own thrifts. So as you're at the thrift stores, keep that in mind, that you're sourcing, you're basically everybody else's personal shopper. During Q4, that's what you are. You are a personal shopper for all the other people in the world who are looking for gifts to give to their people of things that they love. So look at the items as if you were looking for presents for people to give to people, and you're a personal shopper. And if you're primarily a clothing shopper, take a walk through the hard goods. It will not hurt you. I promise. I walk through the hard goods all the time. They're not my favorite thing to flip. They're not my favorite thing to source. I hate listing them most of the times because there's always some complicated crap that I can blow through 20 pairs of jeans or 15 plush in the time it takes me to figure out 1 or 2 hard goods, right? But I still walk through them. I walk through the hard goods and I keep my little eyeballs peeled because holy crap, there is a vintage Steelers plate. I don't know. But just keep your eyes out for that kind of stuff. Just look for stuff that you think might be worthwhile gifts. More info thoughts on mental health. Oh, I'm so sorry that you don't have electricity. That's awful. Are you staying somewhere where you have electricity, or are you in your house? Because that can make a difference. All right. So the number one thing, and I did a show with Clara from List Perfectly and Kim on reseller mental health on the List Perfectly YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but we did a whole show just talking about the importance of mental health and how we're not professionals. I'm not any type of professional. I have no degrees in any kind of therapy or psychology, but I am a person. I am a human being, and I am diagnosed anxiety and OCD, and I have severe insomnia, and I also have a lot of physical issues. A lot of you know I have a disability. My bad back limits me, like lots of limitations on life because of that. But I also suffer from severe migraines, triggered by severe allergies, and I have a plethora of other health issues that I deal with. So as a human being, I don't have a degree, but I can tell you as a human being who has all these things going on, I can still show up every day, or at least most days, and be happy and smile and get done what I need to get done. And that is because of my number one recommendation for anyone who struggles to stay positive or struggles to maintain their mental health. Routines. Routines, 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 routines. I cannot say it enough. Can I say it one more time? Y'all need routines. Routines. It starts to sound funny after a while, like saltines. No, you need routines, not saltines. And why do you need routines? Because when you do the same thing in the same order every day, and it is your routine, you can pretty much do that on autopilot, and you know what to expect. So if you have anxiety and you know that this is how your day is going to unfold, you know what to expect. Not that life won't throw you surprises, it will, because life, that's what it does. But you're not going to wake up and freak out because you have to do shipping, because you always wake up and do that first. And if you have, OCD, routines actually help you stay calm and focused as well. And you kind of like thrive on those. I have both. And I almost sometimes feel like that's fortunate, because I feel like the routines that I need in place to function with my OCD help my anxiety get lowered. So I always preach routines. And they're important for people who don't struggle with anxiety or OCD as well, because you need to stay on task and you need to get done what you need to get done. And we're all working from home, and we are all our own bosses. And so there is no one telling you have to clock in, you have to clock out. There's no one micromanaging you. There's no one bossing you. There's no one telling you what to do. It's very easy to get sidetracked and not do what you're supposed to be doing. If you don't have a clear, concise routine in place that you do every day, it is very easy to just get lost on YouTube and get lost on Facebook. And 2 hours later, well, I haven't listed a darn thing. I'm still on TikTok. It's super easy to do. And you have to stay focused and you have to stay on track. You have to micromanage yourself. But the routines help for mental health as well. So what I always recommend whenever I do a video on routines or talk about routines to folks, I recommend that you just get a piece of paper, and I don't care what it is. It could be a napkin. It could be scratch paper. It could be the back of your electricity bill envelope. It can be a back of a receipt. Get a piece of paper and a pen and sit down and write down, from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed, anything you have to accomplish. Don't write down your whole routine. Don't write, get up, pee, make bed, take pills. You can get that detailed later when you start your journal. But to start, you need to just, this is what I need to do. So whatever your day looks like, and everyone's day is different. For me, my kids are grown. They're 21, they're 18, they're out living near their dad. I don't have to put anybody on a school bus or pick them up from school. I don't have intensive pets either. So people who have like dogs, which are great. I have nothing against dogs. I love all animals. Trust me. I love animals so much. But I don't want intensive ones. But that's if you want intensive ones, I will visit them and love them if you let me. But yes, if you have dogs, you got to walk them, right? If you have cats, they're a little easier. But so like everybody's life is different. So for me, like I have a hamster. She gets food once a month in her little dish that auto feeder and water, and I have to clean her cage like every 6 weeks. She's super easy. Do I give her treats 20 times a day? Yes. Do I sing to her? Yes, but that's not a must, right? So for my day, it's like I have to do shipping, sourcing, listing. We split our chores up. I've talked about this in many videos, but Keith and I don't have like a day where we do house cleaning. We follow Fly Lady. If you've never heard of her, look her up. I have been following Fly Lady's methods for about 19, 20 years. And I have to say, she's the Dave Ramsey of the cleaning and organizing world. She has saved my life. So yeah, we don't clean one day. We do one thing a day. So we don't have one day where we're stuck house cleaning because we do 15 minutes of cleaning every day. So, but your day may look different. You may have a dog to walk and a kid to put on a school bus. You may have parents you're taking care of that are ill that have to go to 50 different doctor's appointments. And that's fine because everyone's life is, hey, look who's here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, your day can disappear. Lisa, I'm so glad to hear that you're safe in Orlando. Hopefully things will get better for you and get back up and running. We were fortunate over here where we are, but not everyone was. So, okay, write your routines down. I got sidetracked. This is Cheryl, guys. Say hi to Cheryl. Write down what you have to do every day. And then get a second piece of paper and write down what you would like to do every day. Because this is where your mental health comes in, and this is where this is important. If every day all you ever do is stuff for other people, for your kids, for your husband, for your parents, for your pets, and your work, and you never do anything for yourself, that's where you get depressed. That's where you get sad. That's where you get overwhelmed. That's where you get to the point where you just wake up one day and you're like, I don't want to work anymore. I'm not doing it. And then you take a day off when you didn't mean to. So when you have those good routines in place of everything you need to do, then you can implement the things you want to do. So write down what you want to do. Do you want to go for a walk every day? Do you want to read a book at night before you go to sleep? Do you want to have time for a movie or a TV show? And, you can branch out. It doesn't have to be every day. You can say, I want to go out to eat every Friday. When you see what you want to be doing every single day, use those as your rewards. So if you successfully get up on time and get your kids on the bus and walk your dog and get your shipping done, maybe you go read for an hour. Maybe you get 15 minutes on Facebook. Maybe you go for a walk. And then you come back and you list your 5 or 10 items for the day. And your reward for that, I get to watch a half an hour show. Don't go overwhelming. Don't binge. Don't get on Netflix and never go back to work. But you can use your wants and your self-care and your personal things to balance that work life as rewards, as a reward system, so that you're not unbalanced. You're not always working, but you're not always playing, because for every work task you complete, you get a play task. So do this and I get this. Do this and I get this. And then when you start doing that, that's when you need to make your to-do lists and your planners, or a bullet journal is what I always recommend. And mine's actually not in here to show you right now. It's a mess. I cannot tell you how much of a mess mine is, because I do this. I write every single thing down. But then you have your routines in place. You're using your free time wisely, and you're using the things you want to do as rewards. And you don't have to do it all throughout the day. I have friends who say, I get up in the morning and work straight through with, breaks to eat and stretch and stuff. But they work straight through, and if they get done at 5, then they get to have the rest of the night off. And that's whatever they want to do. Some people like to work all week without really doing a lot else than work and then just take the whole weekend off as a reward. You got to figure out what works for you in your situation. But those things you have to do every day, make yourself do them. Write them down, make a to-do list, get a journal, bullet journal, make a schedule on your phone, whatever you want to do, and do them. It takes exactly 30 days to create a new habit. So if you are not in the habit of making yourself get up every morning and do shipping first thing, it's going to take 30 days of reminding yourself, writing it down, and forcing yourself to do it and consciously thinking I have to do it before it's a habit. But once you've done it for 30 days and you've created that habit, you're going to get out of bed every morning and immediately go without even thinking about it. Think about your autopilot now. Think about the habits you have now. How many of you get out of bed in the morning and without even thinking about it, shuffle into your kitchen like a half-dead zombie to the coffee pot? You don't even think about that because it's habit. Because you are trained. You have trained yourself to get out of bed and go to the coffee pot. How many of you go straight to the bathroom? You're trained, right? So you have to train yourself at this, and this. And it takes longer than 30 days, I actually think. I mean, the research says 30 days. But it takes longer, I think. But once it's there, you have to do it or you don't feel complete. You almost autopilot it. And then sometimes there's days where you think, I don't want to do it, but you will. So like when I get up in the morning, and I've talked about this in other videos, so pardon me if you've heard this, but the first thing I do after using the restroom, I make my bed and then I wash my face and brush my teeth. And I don't even think about it. I just do it. And then when I'm done with those, I get coffee and we do shipping. And that I do it in that order. And it's just the way it's supposed to be. And there's days where I'm just like, I don't want to make the bed, but I'm in there making it anyway. I know a lot of people don't make their bed, but I like to make it. It's one of Fly Lady's things. She says when you make your bed every morning, it's like accomplishing something first thing. It's something you can do to make yourself feel like you've already crossed off something off your to-do list. You're accomplishing something immediately. You're making your bedroom look nice. It's just like a nice way to start your day every day. So I do that. I didn't always. It took a long time to train myself, but that's what you have to do. So you need your routines. You need that balance. That's the most important thing. This is for always, not just Q4. You got to have balance. You've got to find a way to incorporate fun things into your life. Your family, you have to spend time with them. Your friends, your pets, yourself, whatever your interests are. Some people like gardening. Some people read books, watch movies, play video games. Whatever it is, you're not wrong. Whatever your interests are, whatever you like to do with your free time, if you craft, if you watch true crime murder shows, if you watch rom-coms, whatever it is that you do that makes you happy, that brings you joy, you are not wrong. You might be different than me. We might enjoy different things, but you don't have to like what other people like. You can do whatever you need to do to make yourself happy. Whatever brings you joy. It's not wrong, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. But find that balance. That balance is really what will help you stay healthy because you can feel accomplished every day. I completed my goals. I completed my tasks. I'm making money. My business is doing well. But hey, look, I still have time to do something that I enjoy for myself. And I'm not burned out. And it's not work, and nothing else and just living to work. You cannot live to work. You work to live. Work to make enough money to enjoy the money to do things you like. The other thing that you can really do for your mental health, I really, really believe in the community. Reselling community, eBay community, List Perfectly community, Instagram community, whatever communities you're a part of. And that can be outside of reselling as well. You can join groups in your area that do common things. You can go play Magic the Gathering with people. You can join a book club. You can join a crafting club. but I'm a strong believer in community, but especially for reselling, because this is a very lonely job. We're at home most of the time, working by ourselves with no one else around us, and that is lonely. It can be soul crushing. I mean, not to be overly dramatic, but being alone all the time in your house, like a little hermit working at your computer, can literally be soul crushing. My video last week was about the importance of networking and community, and I went into a lot more detail. If you didn't watch that one, it's on the channel. You can watch the replay. But I went into a whole bunch of detail about why community is so important. But I think that's the number one reason, because this is lonely. And nothing breeds insecurity and anxiety and depression and upsets your mental health like being alone all the time or being lonely. And even if you have a house full of people, you're still kind of alone because no one really understands what we do except for us. So I'm fortunate, yes, that I have a Keith. So I'm not alone. I have a Keith. We're here all day together and we both do this. So we at least get each other. But if you're in a house full of 50 people and you have a big family, that's an over-exaggeration, and they don't understand reselling, it still can be lonely because there's no one to talk to about your thrifting or the bolo item that you found or the jerk who wants to return something or that butthead who sent you a mean message. I mean, there's like no one to share it with. So that's why the community aspect is so super important. Reach out and make reselling friends. Go to the events if you can afford them. If not, at the very least, join reselling groups and interact with people on Instagram, because your mental health actually really relies on it. You need human connection to be a person, to be a healthy person. So those were my tips on how to get set up for Q4 and my tips on mental health. If you have any questions, throw them over there while I'm doing the closing and I'll get to them before I leave. But it is super important, I think, for your mental health. The number one takeaway today should be that you need to sit down and create a routine and stick to it. And hey, we have 3 months of Q4. So if you actually force yourself to do it by the end of Q4, it's going to be an ingrained habit, something that you can do on autopilot all the time without even thinking about it, right? So go do that. Join a Facebook group. Mine is Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. It's mine, so I like to say it's a nice group, but it really is. By design, everyone in there is very positive and uplifting and supportive. You won't have anyone in there telling you have stupid questions or belittling you or not supporting you. So Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod, link is in the box down below. And hey, if you're going to be at Reseller Remix, again, come up and say hi to me. I know I've said this a couple times too. My trash can is usually right here, and it's not. I have resting bitch face, and I have really high anxiety in social situations. I love social situations, and I love meeting new people, and I love networking, and I actually thrive on these events. Like I get in there and I'm all hype, and I'm like, woo, it's fun. But I'm also at the same time having massive panic attacks. I've just learned how to deal with it because I feel like the joy that I get from these events is worth it. And I have tools in place that I use. But my point is, between this, I mean, I always look like I'm mean. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm like, I just look like I'm having a horrible time, and I'm really not. So between my face and the anxiety, I think sometimes people like look at me and be like, oh, she's not approachable, or she's off-putting, or she doesn't want to be. I do. I absolutely want to be approached, and I'm a hugger. So feel free to hug me. Feel free to come say hi. Feel free to talk to me. Feel free to invite yourself along. If you hear me say I'm going to dinner with so-and-so, invite yourself. Come on. When we were at FlipCon, Dave and Bill and I were like walking out of the hotel to go to dinner, and we ended up with like 20 more people. We were just gathering them up as we went like little ducks. I don't care. I'm nice. I mean, I can be snippy, Cheryl. No, I'm a nice person. So come find me, invite yourself along to dinner, talk to me. And if you're not going, join the Facebook group and talk to me in there. And Go be productive. I'm going to wrap this up. If you can't tell, I'm getting into my end spiel. It is 5:30 here. It is a Friday. So I want everyone to take some time off for themselves tonight or at some point in this weekend. Make it a point to, one, sit down and write that list so you can start your routines, start a bullet journal or some kind of schedule or calendar in your phone. Take some time for yourself. Yes, spend time with family, friends, and animals. But I'm challenging you this weekend to take a couple hours to just do something for you that's just for you, that makes you happy. Go do it. Have a really great weekend, guys. I will not be live next Friday because I will be in Vegas still. So I will be back. I'm going to try to do one more live before we move, and that will be the 21st. So hopefully I'll see you live on the 21st of October. Until then, I have pre-recorded a bunch of videos, so I will be putting out content while I'm gone and tons of stuff from the event. But go have a really great Friday and a weekend. Be productive and make money, but also do something for yourself. And Cheryl, I will see you soon. Sunday, I think, or Monday. Robert, I'll see you soon. Everyone else that's going to remix, I'll see you. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate everyone coming in and spending this hour with me today. If you're here live and if you're watching the replay, thank you. I appreciate that too. It all helps the channel. It all helps support what I do here. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Consider subscribing. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. 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 Bye.